We're gonna start off with the fast sink version. And a lot of people are asking me in the comments and all these videos, what is the best one? What's the best sink rate that I need for my fishing? You use the slow sink for shallow water, the medium for medium depths, and the fast sink for deep water. Actually, that's not the case. I like to let how the fish are acting really dictate that. And with forward-facing sonar, I can see that a lot of times where the slow sink version is the best one to throw even down in 15 or 20 feet of water because they want that bait, really stalling coming through that water column. And then there's also times where I'm fishing hard shallow cover, a shell bed and 5 feet of water or less, a rock pile, where I want to throw the fast sink version and really make contact with the bottom because it's muddier water, because it's something like a crankbait bite. I just want to get that bottom contact, which can really draw fish into biting. So there is no right answer there. But the one thing that I want you guys to notice as we throw these 3 different sink rates is the fast sink version that I tied on here is the easiest for anyone to go out, throw it out there and wind it in. Because of the amount of weight that's in the front section of this bait, I'll show you the action. It's gonna be the easiest to get the proper action out of this thing. So let me fire it up here a couple times to coleslaw. Watch this thing sink though. It falls dumb, it kind of spirals. And I'd say the sink rate on this thing is probably like I'd say the sink rate on this thing is probably like 2 feet per second or so. It's a fast sinking bait. Basically, you can fish this thing at the biggest variety of retrieve speeds as possible. And the action of this bait that really, I think, makes fish and big fish react to it is that same action we were talking about with that BPS swim bait. And that is the nose of this bait has all that quiver. The whole bait kind of swings around and really flows and moves as you retrieve it. It's not just all the action in the tail and then the head still. It's not all the action in the head, but it's not really just an overly big action, unnatural action of the tail, because yeah, it's good to have a bait that's, that's kicking really wide to get the fish's attention in the water column, but shad and bluegill and crappie and whatever the bass are, their tail doesn't go like that in the water column. It's a nice tighter swimming action, and their whole body kind of shimmers and rocks as they are, especially swimming away from a predator. And so, this fast sink version, I'll fire it out there over the top of anything, over the top of a point. I mean, anywhere you're gonna drag a jig, anywhere you're gonna drag a Carolina rig, anywhere you're gonna throw a deep diving crankbait, a medium diving crankbait, or any type of cover where they can really ambush up over the top of a brush pile, fire it out there, count it down a couple feet per second. So, I mean, if a brush pile tops out at 10 feet, count it down for 4 to 5 seconds and wind it over the top of it. It's just a hard bait to not catch a good fish on, to be completely honest. Okay, so here's the medium sink. We're gonna do the medium sink and then the slow sink. And a lot of you guys are going to pick this up out of the box and you are gonna wind this at the wrong speed, and you're gonna say, something's messed up with my bait. It's just wobbling side to side, it looks stupid. But that's actually something that is just kind of something you gotta live with this bait, because like I was saying again, with the density, the hardness of the plastic, the way the tail's designed, the way the front of this bait's designed, I know the most important thing for this bait to get bit is that quivering head action, that oscillating, that little roll that it has. And to maintain that while keeping the exact same style, the same shape, the same mold of the bait, you're gonna give up a little bit of the ability to wind at a lot of different speeds as you put less and less weight up here in the head. And that's probably why most companies haven't come out with, a lot of different sink rates of a weighted swim bait, and why it took us so long to get this right. But I'll show you what I'm talking about with this bait right here. And it's really pronounced with the slow sink. The medium sink rate is really one that I throw in a lot of different situations. But that's the bait right there. That's the action I want to show you guys. If you're reeling this bait too slow, you're gonna pull it out. You're gonna, if you're bank fisherman, you're gonna put it in front of the bank. You're gonna put it next to the boat and be like, I got a dud. Something's wrong with this thing. What the heck did I just waste my money on? Well, don't worry, guys. That's normal. So here's what it looks like when you actually pick up the speed and reel it at that retrieve rate that really brings out the best action in this bait. So the medium and the slow have more pronounced head shake and head wiggle because there's less weight up there. So there's not as much mass up there to keep that head from shaking. And Again, they're not super user friendly in the retrieve speed, because if you pull it too slow, it will just do that weird rolling crap. But I would just suggest, you know, throw it out like I'm doing right now, you know, 30 feet from the boat, 30 feet from the bank, watch it a foot below the surface, get an idea of that retrieve speed on your reel, as to, you know, what you need to pull it at. Again, this medium sink sinks probably a little bit over a foot per second, probably 1.25 to not probably 1.5, probably about 1 to 1.25 feet per second. So it would be our rate of fall, as a lot of people know, which is how many feet it sinks in 10 seconds. It would be about that rate of fall 10 or so. And to me, I mean, it's really easy, especially I always throw this again on the 6-speed reel, so I know how fast I need to turn my handle to maintain this perfect little retrieve action. And you'll see in the slow sink in a second, it really does it, but the medium sink, I mean, it really has a cool kind of wandering effect, to where if you're pulling it kind of on the brink of having it do the crappy roll action that's not how you want it, and the right action, if you get it right in between there, the bait will kind of swim around and wander its way through. And I don't know if that's something that makes them bite, but I don't see why it wouldn't be. Another thing you're gonna notice is, for those of you guys that like to throw a lot of big baits, that throw a lot of glide baits, just bigger hard baits, stuff like that, you're not gonna have fish follow this bait all the way to the boat, hardly ever. They're either gonna drift off, you know, 15, 20 feet from the boat if they're following it, or they're gonna inhale this bait. There's not much in between. Sometimes they're a little finicky and they wanna just bite the tail of this bait. They wanna feel it because they don't have hands. You know, bass are curious. And I'm gonna show you guys a hack to catch those fish that are doing that in just a second. So let's swim the slow sink. I'll show you guys this slow sink model. Okay, last but not least, we got the slow sink version. This, to me, is maybe my favorite one, because it has more of that head shake, more of that wandering side to side, swimming, searching action than any. And like I said, you gotta take the bad with the good, where it's gonna have to be reeled at more of that right speed to make it really work. Just like we talked about with that Babe swim bait, with that Skinny Bear swim bait, with the original Bass Pro swim bait that made it like the most deadly bait that you can never even get anymore. But the head shake on this, because of the less mass in the head, is absolutely ridiculous. I'll show you again. So let me flip out to coleslaw here, and you guys see it sinking. I'd say it's less than a foot per second. And again, I'll reel it too slow. So there you go. You got that action that's, you're thinking that you got a bait that's a damn dud. And then let me show you guys as I fire it out to him this time, when we get that action just right. And this might be one that you kind of got to film looking straight at it like I am, Cole, to really see how pronounced that head wiggle is. It's like that Babes, like that Bass Pro Swimmer. It's like the mag draft, when you get a perfect mag draft, or get a mag draft weighted perfectly. Man, it looks freaking good. That should be a good one, Cole. That's just a bait that's a magical thing. I got goosebumps right now watching this bait come through the water. There's something about when a bait swims right that I'm sure if you guys are, you know, crankbait junkies, or hard swim bait, glide bait junkies that really know the right action, that when you get something that's just right, it's very exciting. You can throw it one time in a pool or one time in the lake, and you don't even got to see it hardly swim to know that this one is the one in your box. And that's as good as it gets right there, guys.